Good afternoon. I'm Tim Barkley with Charleston Home Design magazine, and I want to thank you for listening to Talking About a Home show on the radio. In addition to our radio show Talking About a Home, we also publish Charleston Home Design magazine, winner of the American Society of Interior Designers Excellence in Design Media Award, and also winner of the American Institute of Architects Charleston Chapter's Honor Award for Journalism. You may also be familiar with the 3 custom home shows we organize: the Charleston Home and Design Show, which takes place every January, the Charleston Home and Design Show on Daniel Island, which takes place every April, and the Custom Home and Remodel Show and Hurricane Expo, which is coming up August 8th through the 10th at the Citadel's Johnson Haygood Stadium. Well, today we've got a great show lined up for you. Today's show is coming to you from Southern Lumber and Millwork, and we're going to be talking with Bob Hyland with Southern Lumber and Millwork. It's kind of an extended interview. We're going to be talking about what to look for when buying windows and doors, and so very interesting interview with Bob Hyland, Southern Lumber and Millwork. Also, Shoshana Such with Shelf Genie. Robert Gatch with All About Garage Doors. And then we're also going to visit with Ron Cochran and Brian Watson, and they are with Viking Appliance, and Viking Appliances, as you know, a very high-end appliance line, and they have a mobile showroom. It's actually a tractor trailer, and they visited the Mount Pleasant area recently, so we'll be talking to them. But in the meantime, I did want to mention a couple of things. The new issue, the summer issue of Charleston Home and Design magazine, will be coming out in a couple of weeks, starting on June 18th. And we've got Carrie Morey, the founder of Callie's Charleston Biscuits, on the cover, and it's a great issue. We also have our annual outdoor living guide, which is just page after page of eye candy outdoor living ideas and photos of finished outdoor living projects here in the Charleston area. And so look for that at over 60 different home-related retail stores throughout the Charleston area. We have racks. We have stacks of magazines at these home-related retail stores. You just pop in and pick up the new issue of Charleston Home and Design magazine coming out starting June 18th. And we've also got the Custom Home and Remodel Show and Hurricane Expo, which I mentioned in a couple of minutes ago, coming up August 8th through the 10th. And this will be our final show, August show at the Citadel's Johnson Haygood Stadium. This time next year, August of 2015, we will be back at the newly renovated Gilliard Center. So we're looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we got a great show coming up for you August 8th through the 10th. Just to give you a couple of highlights. First of all, we've got the Charleston Hurricane Expo, which takes place on Friday, August 8th, and it's free admission all day Friday from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. And we have the Hurricane Expo, which is going on in conjunction with the Custom Home and Remodel Show, where we'll be giving away 500 free hurricane kits to the first 500 families who visit the show. And each kit, it's about a 20-piece kit. Each kit is anchored by an Energizer Energizer flashlight, and we're very grateful to the folks at Energizer for donating 500 flashlights for these hurricane kits that we'll be giving away to the public. We've got the Palmetto Outdoor Kitchen Grilling Area, where if you ever watch Barbecue Pitmasters on the Destination America channel, Jack Waybor, local barbecue pitmaster, was a contestant last year, and he was at our 2013 show last year doing cooking demonstrations, and he'll be back again doing grilling demonstrations in the Palmetto Outdoor Kitchen area. And so we're really glad to have Palmetto Outdoor Kitchen on board, and more details coming your way soon. Just listen up to Talking About a Home show on the radio. Have a great weekend. I'm Tim Barkley with Charleston Home and Design magazine, and I want to thank you for listening to Talking About a Home show on the radio. Today's radio show is coming to you from Southern Lumber and Millwork, located at 2031 King Street in downtown Charleston. And we are talking with Bob Hyland with Southern Lumber and Millwork. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great, Tim. Good to see you again today.
You too. Bob, take a moment and tell everybody about Southern Lumber and Millwork.
Oh, happy to do that. Southern Lumber was established in 1941, 73 years ago. We were fixing to celebrate our 75th anniversary here in 2015. So we're pretty excited. We're about 70-plus employees here. Mm-hmm. We have a manufacturing facility as well as, obviously, distribution of materials, lumber, windows and doors, specialty items, and et cetera. So pretty great place. The other part that I always like to point out is the fact that we're a family-owned company. Mm-hmm. We're in our started our fourth generation about a year ago, Little Will. So which is really quite an accomplishment, because most companies, to have that longevity is a big struggle.
Right.
And so, but Southern's been able to maintain and continue to grow and be a force in the marketplace.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, and a lot of times the family-owned businesses ended up getting bought out by some big company that comes in or something, right?
Right, absolutely.
And that has not been the case for Southern Lumber and Millwork. Well, Bob, besides the obvious lumber, lots of lumber here at Southern Lumber. Southern Lumber also specializes in windows, and that's for new construction and for remodeling, correct?
That is correct.
Well, tell everybody about the window department at Southern Lumber and Millwork.
Well, the window department is staffed by 6 people, and we actually have 3 sales staff and then 3 support staff. The sales staff actually has over 60 years experience in the window and door industry. And as you just pointed out, we do new construction, we do remodeling, replacement, so basically we can cover the entire gamut as far as if you're an independent contractor, if you're a volume contractor, or if you're an individual homeowner and just you have an addition or you have a window to replace or you have some need in the window and door area, we can pretty much cover you on that part.
Mm-hmm. Some people might, their first thought might be, I'm going to go to one of the big box stores to buy these replacement windows. Why is that? What would you tell a homeowner?
Well, I think the biggest difference is that we actually have, as I just shared with you, 6 people in the window department. That's all we do is the windows and doors. We don't sell the lumber. We don't sell the other stuff. We have specialized people that handle those particular categories. I think that's the difference that sets us apart from the box stores. The other part is the service part, because typically the big box stores don't have a service department. Last year, we actually were recognized by Anderson as actually one of the top 10 dealers in the entire nation for the service that we supply for Anderson customers. And we've gotten some of the same recognition also for the Marvin product that we sell as well. And I think that's what sets us apart, because anybody can sell a product. It's a matter of, can you take care of the customers, if there is ever an issue. And give you an example, the other day we had a lady that called. She bought her product about 12 years ago, not even from us. And we were able to take care of her problem, even, matter of fact, that same day. Mm-hmm. And so they just really appreciate the fact that we can service the Anderson or the Marvin product here at Southern Lumber.
What kind of problem did that lady have?
Well, interesting, because, we sell a lot of multi-point locking systems today, as you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. Well, they're a little persnickety with homeowners because of the gear systems that are in there. It's not your normal hardware. And so you need a trained person that kind of understands that problem. Mm-hmm. And so we were able, and we actually, with the Anderson product and the Marvin product, we stock those type of gear systems here. So if somebody runs into a pickle where they can't get it fixed, or they need it right away, they're not having to wait weeks for a product, for the part. We actually, in most cases, actually have it here. And so we're able to put Teddy on the schedule, in some cases really quick, some cases within a couple, and get him out there to take care of the problem.
Does Southern Lumber install the windows, or does the contractor do that?
Typically, the contractor does, the installation part of it. But one of the things that we do offer is, because all the sales staff is actually, and the service staff is actually trained on proper window and door installation. So we're able to go out to the job site, although the builder may be actually, or remodeler, maybe doing their own installation. We're able to walk them through how the manufacturer expects that product to be installed in order to maintain their warranty. Because, as you know, the biggest part of a problem, usually you have with a window or a door is usually the installation problem. Mm-hmm. And so as I always said, callbacks are not job security. So we'd rather go ahead and head it off on the pass on the front end to make sure that, we cover, make sure it is, protected in terms of water flashing, plumb, square, and level in the opening, those kind of things. So the homeowner doesn't have the problem down the road.
What about, so Southern Lumber, you folks carry Anderson, you mentioned Marvin. What other window lines does Southern carry?
Well, those are the two primary brands that we sell. That's probably comprises of about 90% of what we sell, are those two brands. But as a homeowner, and depending on where you're at, you obviously have needs of price point is one. We also have, Anderson has a window line, a vinyl window lines called Silverline. And we have actually a couple different manufacturers that we do all vinyl products because they meet a price point that some people just need to, be at that price, and we're okay. So we can do anything from a all vinyl product to all the way to actually an all mahogany product, in some cases where it's a very ultra high end, type house. So really, from bottom end to high end, we can do it all.
What about some of the window companies I see advertising on TV? Advertising window installed for $175 or something like that.
Well, one of the things at Southern that we do, and I really actually promote it with the homeowners and understand that we don't do what we call turnkey. The people that you just kind of mentioned, they do what they call, in other words, they in some cases manufacture the window, they sell the window, and they install the window. We really don't do that. And the reason why we don't do installation is because of the fact that about 70% of our business is remodel business. And so therefore, we would actually become a competitor of those very guys that we do business with. So we would much rather go ahead and sell the customer the product and allow them to go ahead and hire an installer. Well, oftentimes, it's usually somebody that we usually recommend. We'll give several names and let them go and make the decision as to who they feel comfortable with doing that work. Obviously, the ultimate part is the fact that, again, we've been here for 73 years. So the customer has a place to come back to from a well-established company and a company with a phenomenal reputation. So it's rare, to be honest with you. All the years I've been here, I think I may have had one or two people that really wanted to go with somebody that does turnkey. And actually, what the other companies actually advertise as what you consider a very low-end price. By the time they do all their add-ons for the stuff that really should be included, they're really almost about the same price as what we are. So,
when it comes to how these windows are going to stand up over time, what kind of warranties does Anderson and Marvin offer?
Well, typically it's this. With the products that are sold today, if you're using regular insulated low E glass, the manufacturers of both of those particular products is Cardinal. Cardinal is the largest glass manufacturer in the United States. Cardinal backs that glass for a period of 20 years. In other words, if you have a seal failure or a spontaneous breakage or something to do with that glass, that glazing area, the product is actually warranted for 20 years. The rest of the materials of that product, the frame, balancers, those kind of things are warranted for 10 years. Both manufacturers, as well as most manufacturers, will typically cover the labor warranty for 1 to 2 years. So after that, we typically, we work it out with the homeowners in terms of, the actual installation, but the materials, again, are warranted for a longer period. And in both cases, what happens is the manufacturers actually logo the actual glass, so we're able to identify the age of that particular product. So that helps us in terms of, making sure that the customers, for example, I had one the other day. The guy had a piece of glass that the seal had been compromised on it. He thought he needed to order a whole new piece of, a whole new sash. I said, what year is located on there? And he gave me a year of 2007. I said, you're fine. We can get you the sash at no charge. And so he was pleasantly surprised. So we want to make sure that the customers are getting from these manufacturers that we represent, what they really need and not having to pay if it's truly under warranty. So that's the difference.
What would you tell a homeowner that is shopping for either replacement windows or new construction? What should they look for? Some tips on buying windows.
Well, I think the number one tip is this: the fact that you need to be very comfortable with who you're buying from. And that, again, is to recognize Southern Lumber as a company that's been here for 73 years. We're well established. We're not going anywhere. And so that's a high level of comfort. We've heard the horror stories of people purchasing or having work done at their home, and next thing you know, the person is gone. And so they have no way to track. They've also lost money. They've lost time, et cetera. So I think that's the number one thing. The second thing is you want to look at the warranties, obviously, and who's backing the warranties. Ultimately, the warranty is with the manufacturer, really not with Southern Lumber, but we support that warranty because these are the products that we represent. So that's the second part of it. And again, then the third part is, and probably the other part of the key is, not only the company, not only the product, but the person that you're buying it from. What level of comfort do you have with that particular person? We as salespeople have to sell the company, we have to sell ourselves, and sell the product. Those three components actually combined really make up the difference of the sale. So,
what types of windows are you seeing homeowners choose here at Southern Lumber and Millwork?
Well, the predominant window we sell is, again, both Anderson and Marvin. But what we're seeing is a change a little bit in the trend because we're in a coastal environment, obviously. We're pretty close to the salt water. And so salt has a different component that really wreaks havoc on a lot of elements, whether it's, a cladded product or an all-wood product, whatever, but especially the cladded products. So what we're seeing is the manufacturers, both manufacturers, the Anderson and the Marvin, have both in the last few years come out with a fiberglass exterior cladded product. And that product actually holds up extremely well to the environment. Vinyl really for years has been the number one component that's really used on the coast. With the fiberglass, one, you add the component as far as durability, but then the second part is the component of strength, because fiberglass is a lot stronger material that you use than a vinyl product. So we're seeing the manufacturers, or excuse me, not the manufacturers, but the architects and designers, those people actually specifying fiberglass. The Anderson line is what they call their A series, and we display it here. We show the different lines, whether it's doors or windows here. And then the other line is actually with Marvin, their Integrity line, which that's a product we also display here, whether it's their casements or double hungs or doors as well. And so in both cases, again, it's like I tell people that are not familiar with fiberglass. I said, well, think about a boat. We're here on the water. They sit out there all day long. They sit right there in that water. So obviously you understand the durability of fiberglass. Most people are not familiar with the strength of fiberglass. So it's an extremely strong product.
What there have been some code changes recently in South Carolina that have impacted the Charleston area. Talk about what homeowners have as far as purchasing windows to protect their homes from windborne debris.
The code actually started several years ago in terms of the 2006 code that replaced the old I codes. Came out with a design pressure rating, which typically deals with water pressure and air infiltration rates on the product. And
that's the DP50.
That's the DP, design pressure, which has actually now gone to a PG, which is a performance grade, which rates it a little bit differently.
What is the design pressure? What does DP50 mean?
Well, design pressure, it deals with water, pressure, and air infiltration rate. So those three areas combined as that window is tested. Each house is actually independent as far as what actually that calculation should be. The buzzword typically is a DP50. Well, in most cases, you don't need a design pressure of a 50 rating because it depends on the mean roof height of the house, the exposure of the house, where it's located, where the window or door is located, because we have two different zones actually on a house. We have a zone 4 and a zone 5. 4 feet from a corner is a zone 5. That actually has a 1.5 times greater rating than the zone 4s. And so we look at those kind of things. But the other part that's really come into effect, actually about mid-year last year, with the windborne debris part of the code, which they really started enforcing more so before they enforced it. But the difference was you have three ways to satisfy that code. The code says you can either use plywood to cover that opening, you can use hurricane-rated shutters to cover that opening, or you can use impact-rated glass. Typically what we found is the hurricane-rated shutters are about the same price, actually a little bit more than what the impact-rated glass is. The plywood actually is still the preferred method, obviously, for price.
So if you bought non-impact rated windows and then you added the hurricane shutters to comply with the code, if you add up the cost of the non-impact windows plus the impact-rated shutters, that would come to about what the price would be for impact-rated glass windows?
Yeah, actually, in most cases, it's actually a little bit more. And people need to understand, I try to point this out, it's not just a shutter. This is an impact-rated shutter, which is a lot different. And so the other component is this. With the impact-rated glass, you're basically not having to shut the shutters after that. It's already there. Now, in some cases, and what they started actually enforcing, whether you're doing a remodel or whether you're doing a new construction, this now both applies as you're pulling a permit. And that is when you put the windows in, not only do you have to have the plywood on site, you actually have to have the fasteners in place to go ahead and attach this plywood to your structure. And that's created a big difference in terms of demand for impact glass.
The fasteners actually installed on the house?
That is correct.
Okay.
Exactly. It used to be what you would actually see, about a little over a year ago, is you would actually see the plywood sitting in the garage. You would see the fasteners in a box, and the homeowner's like, what am I going to do with this? Well, hopefully we haven't, if you have a hurricane, you'll understand what that's going to happen.
Right. So if there was an evacuation, the homeowner would have to either nail that plywood that's pre-cut in their garage up on the windows, or because the attachments aren't on the house, the builder may not have already put those on. But now you're saying that it's required to have those bolts?
That is correct. Now it's required to already be in place for the homeowner. And the other part is this, and the homeowners are realizing that in the event of a hurricane, where am I going to find somebody? Because in most cases, people don't know how to do it, so they have to hire somebody. Well, where's everybody going to be at? We've literally seen our impact sales actually go up about 50% just in the last year because of people looking at the cost. And there's also this part of it too, because also the code actually says if you're above a certain height on the house, especially these drive-under houses, like for example on the third floor, you have no choice, but you have to use impact on those particular locations because they understand you're not going to go get a piece of plywood up to that level.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you have the impact rated windows, you can contact your insurance company, let them know about that. Sometimes they require the contractor that installed them to verify that they did install impact rated glass windows, and then you get a break on your insurance. And if you have some homeowners may have said contacted their insurance company and said, oh, I've got plywood and pre-cut, it's all labeled, and then it's never put up though. After a storm, the insurance company would look for some sort of proof that it actually was up if your house was wiped out or something.
That's correct. You're absolutely right.
And so now they're being a little bit more stringent about it and saying you have to prove to us that that you had the fasteners on the house, and who knows even if you ended up putting the plywood on the house.
Yeah.
But and that's the plywood is really the least convenient of all the hurricane protection options that you have, because it is heavy and unwieldy, and if it's of any size, the board acts like a sail as you're walking up, trying to get it up on a ladder and so forth. And a lot of homeowners might just say, "Oh, that's why I have insurance. I'm just going to evacuate." But then your house gets demolished, and think of all the inconveniences that are involved with that. If you have the impact rated glass windows, what happens when a storm threatens?
Well, basically you can just leave because you're covered.
Lock your windows and out you go. And
exactly.
If you're not here, which is not out of the question, you might be out of town on business or on a vacation, and all of a sudden there's a storm, and you're out of town. You can't prepare your home for that, but if you've got the impact rated glass windows, then you don't have to worry about that.
Well, there's a couple things. You're right. One, you don't have to worry about it. You can basically just walk away. An impact piece of glass, and actually we have samples here to be able to show the customers. It's about 9 times stronger than a car windshield. People see a car windshield, and because it's a piece of laminate that's sandwiched in between 2 pieces of anneal glass, so something flying through there, it may break the outer pane, but it will not go all the way through, because that's the critical part in terms of a house imploding. Once you get air in there, you have more opportunity there to raise the roof, water to infiltrate that dwelling there. And so the other part that I tell people a lot of times is this: that understand with impact glass, well, one, as you just mentioned about the rating in terms of insurance. So your insurance, there's a reduction in cost in terms of you having that entire envelope with impact glass. The second part is I share with people, and that is this: it's also security. Somebody cannot break into your window. You're not getting through an impact rated window. And so there's that secondary part that a lot of people just didn't realize that, wow, even if I'm living here all the time, if we never had a hurricane, I feel better knowing that at least my house is secure, that somebody just can't break into my window.
What I wonder if there's any special training for firefighters because more and more they're going to experience houses with impact rated glass. How would they break into a window if there was a fire?
Well, that's an interesting point, because that actually was brought up, especially when the codes really started to come into play and we started doing more with impact glass. Because, okay, if you can't get in this thing, how does a fireman get in in case there is a fire? But there is a way, and they do have specialized training. With the tools that they use, they can get in. It's a little more effort.
Right. So we've been concentrating mostly on the window department at Southern Lumber and Millwork, but the millwork part of the name Southern Lumber is a big part, and we're almost out of time, but just briefly tell our listeners about the millwork end of Southern Lumber and Millwork.
Well, the millwork end, again, we were established in 1941, and that's really how we started. Our bread and butter has always been millwork. So we have CNC routers. We have a shop here. We're the actually only lumber yard here in town that actually, makes stuff right here on site. Mm-hmm. So we have 3 trained sales staff actually that work the counter on a daily basis. We're looking at over 60 years of experience of these guys on the counter. So they're here to assist a customer when they walk in the door and they've got a project and say, can I do this? What about this? They have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of expertise, and so they can guide and direct them as to whatever they need. And so in purchasing, we also have a support staff. Obviously, we deliver within the Tri-County area here, and also we have guys actually on staff that are actually dedicated when a customer purchases something here, that they help them assist in terms of getting the product, loading it, and being able to get taken care of. And so I think we really cover the customer service and the thing here at Southern Lumber in a major way, because we're dedicated to the homeowners and to the individuals that come here.
Well, good deal. Well, tell everybody how they can get in touch with Southern Lumber and Millwork.
Well, a couple ways. We are located on the web at www.southernlumbermillwork.com, or you can call our line here at area code 843-744-6281.
All right, great. Well, we have been talking with Bob Hyland with Southern Lumber and Millwork. And thanks so much to Southern Lumber and Millwork for hosting today's radio show. Thanks so much, Bob.